season produced the gifts and gifts.
Yes! Come on, you Arsenal boys. Now listen, welcome. It's Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. It's the Ronin Radio. Today is a big one today, yo. It's not every day. I tweeted it this morning. It's not every day you get to speak with the founders. And of course, having Jihoz on the show many a time in the past, it's always a good time, always a good conversation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that has been pulling through up until this point. This is the call to action. Go ahead and share the stream around as much as you can. If you're here on YouTube, shout out to you, man. Welcome. And please subscribe to the channel, as when we hit 500 subscribers, we'll be giving out generational wealth in the form of a Ronki NFT. So it's gonna be straight up. We're gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna bring on the whole team here, and of course Jihoz. Today's show is critical. It's crucial, though. You know, we are in a time that is confusing for many people. That is many people be down bad. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the industry, but fundamentally, Ronin is growing from strength to strength. So these types of conversations, I think, are really important. We will have hard questions. We will have amazing questions. We will have some great answers and maybe some humor and fun along the way. But without further ado, I want to say huge shout out to everyone that is already here for supporting us throughout the time that we've been here. 2 years deep, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have known? A huge shout out to our sponsors. And as always, the show is powered by none other than the world's greatest gaming blockchain, Ronin itself. Without further ado, though, my peoples, let's bring him on the stage. Look at this beautiful guy. What is this? Yes.
Good morning, Stark. How are you doing? I don't look like the wild man I looked like last week.
Yes.
The times are turning around, so the haircut is ready for the next stretch.
Okay. I heard you've been the Ronin gym as well now, bro. We're getting back to it. Let's go. Ronin Gym, I'm telling you, the back end of this year, you lot better watch. Q3, Q4 drop of the Ronin Gym is going to be insane. I've been in there myself. Stark's in there. Who else is going to join us? So we're going to get this guy in a Ronin Gym who has a muted mic at the moment. So before I bring him up on the stage, please will you unmute mic, my good friend? Here we are. Here he is, bro. Look at this legend. Good morning.
What's good? Good to be back. And I was going to say something to Stark. I was going to be like, yeah, you just finished the Axie season. You know, maybe it must have gotten really sweaty there at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know that it did.
I have a lot of respect for the people who do that every single season. It's tough on the mental, especially the last day games are like none other.
Yeah. Well, you saw an unhinged Stark on stream. Brother, let me tell you, an unhinged Stark off stream is really where the entertainment is at, bro. But we'll probably get to that at some point. But yeah, man, excited for today. I just want to hear you guys' perceptions before we get right into this. It's a big day, a lot of difficult questions that may be asked, but really and truly, a topic that we want to talk about, the Ronin revolution. What does it mean? The title is there. What are we looking for today?
Yeah, I mean it's always great to have one of the founders on and be able to pick his brain. I got a bunch of questions. I asked Twitter what they thought, or X what kind of questions. I got a whole bunch of them. If we ever run out of things to ask him, don't worry, I got you, man. I got like 100 questions
Yeah.
here, so
Yeah,
we're
no,
good.
it's been
like
a while that we haven't had him on the show, so excited to be able to talk to him. He's a busy man, so we're gonna enjoy every minute of this.
I mean, look, Ronin, we've been in quite a bit of pain the past couple of weeks. Maybe we can even say a month or whatever. But I think things are starting to turn around, and yeah, I'd love to hear Joe's perspective, especially on all that and where we're headed from here.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to all you Ronkies in the chat as well. Ronki Revolution is also on the cards. I think it's probably bigger than the Ron Revolution right now. But yeah, if you keep commenting throughout the show, we'll bring up the questions if there are some in the chat. We have asked X as well. So some of the conversations we'll be having has been drawn from that already. But yeah, take part, contribute to the show. If you've got comments, if you've got questions, then please filter them through. But without further ado, because time is very valuable and it is of the essence right now, let's bring through our founder, one of our co-founders here at Sky Mavis, and of course the builders of the Ronin network, Professor, I emphasize Professor Jihoz today. Welcome to the Ronin Radio, my friend. It's good to have you here. Yeah, man, welcome back. Let's go.
Where the glasses at?
Where are my glasses? Yeah, I can go get them. But yeah, I do use Riverside, I guess, for the Professor Jihoz recording. So this is an artifact of that.
Yeah. No, it's good to actually have you on in this format as well. We've changed format recently. Of course, the streams have been performing a lot better. It's nice to have you here, the visual cues as well. So
hang on, guys, do you see what's on his wall?
Yeah, that's why I chuckled as soon as he
do you see what's on his wall?
Hey, that is bringing that into existence, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. That's manifestation at its finest.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I put those up a really long time ago. Right? So it's like if you look at something, you think about it and manifest it into existence, right? So,
absolutely. Well, hey, if you saw them, what it is. A lot of things to jump into today. Jihoz, of course, addressed before the show, spoke about it, and I've said it already twice in the show. It's going to be some hard questions, I guess, today. We really want to unpack your thoughts, your perspective on the situation, but also to really focus on the turnaround, the revolution aspects of today's title. I, have always believed in what Ronin presents and the ideology behind Ronin and Sky Mavis itself. So we'll uncover a lot of those things today. A lot of it will be drawn from your own perspective, tweets that you've provided and thoughts that you've put out there, so people have seen them. And just to kind of dive deeper into them. So the first tweet that we are talking about here was one of that happened earlier this week, actually. And it was in regards to two things, of course, on the to-do list, your to-do list. The Ronin Merkle page, the opportunities right now with DeFi coming to Ronin is very important. And of course, the big topic that I think a lot of people are here for, which is the buyback of Ron. But let's start first and foremost with that tweet and really kind of unpack your thoughts around why sharing those. Why do you want to share these perceptions or perspectives that you have, and what is the cause that you intend to raise from that?
I mean, the last couple months have been pretty tough on the community. Have been tough for all of crypto, right? Like, I see us as being very sensitive right now to things like the cycle, to the global macro situation. And that's both good news and bad news, right? We can't have the good without the bad. And we were, right, like Ronin and gaming were the first things to pump in the cycle. we also pumped the hardest right when President Trump won. And when there's been this right uncertainty, I guess, over global liquidity and tariffs, and Ronin and gaming, think also DeFi, right? If you look at like Uniswap and Aave, right? Basically everything that's kind of like application level, application layer within crypto has really struggled. It's very rate sensitive, right? Because when you think about this, if you can get 5% in your bank account and people are right kind of like unsure of what markets are doing, people are not like interested in investing, right? In a very kind of difficult macro environment. Right, like if you can get 5% in your bank account just by holding cash, right? Like, oh, lending your money out in DeFi, right? Starting an Axie guild or starting a guild, being a paymaster in Cambria, these are all relatively much less attractive than when interest rates are zero and people feel that security that right the wind is at their back. And so that's this is some of the macro context, right, that I believe we've been going through. I do think that things have gotten as bad as they will. I think I put out a tweet around April 6th, April 7th, that, hey, I think things have gotten as bad as they will get. And then I think 2 hours later, right, like there was like the huge, pump in at least global equities, right after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sharing how I'm looking at this market environment. And for me, I work every day on Ronin, right? Like my future, my success, it's very much tied to the valuations of these tokens that we all collectively hold together. And so I put this out because, for me, at these levels, right, it's like I was thinking that, it just seems like a great opportunity to get even more exposure for a really good price, something that I'm working on all the time. I could be more motivation. Obviously, right, I lost a lot of my RON last year too, right? So that's also, some context to think about. So obviously the Merkle thing, right? Definitely check out all the opportunities. The way that I see it is, in the everyday, like if we can create an ecosystem where there's right a seamless loop and integration between games, right, social features, right, we're in community and as well as right DeFi and e-commerce, where you basically have like a complete economy. You have leisure, you have like the social glue that binds us all together, and then you also have the kind of like the commercial, the e-commerce layer and the financial layer. So I do believe that, just like, right, like how could Ronin and how could Axie have even right functioned without Katana in a lot of ways? There was a lot of friction without it. And that's also how we will start to see a lot of these other right DeFi opportunities. Right now we have Liquid Ron. We also have the compound markets are also back up. So a huge shout out to Owl. If you haven't read his article, definitely do it. You can, I believe, find it on the Ronin wallet community highlights section now. Let me just verify that. Yeah, it's on the community highlights section as well as Woku. So, if you guys are interested in being on that, we can also definitely arrange that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the topics we will go into today is focusing on the Ronin wallet itself, and as a product, it's expanding. And it ties to a lot of the fundamental growth that I think is important to communicate. Each show we always talk about it and how price is obviously one thing, and to a lot of things it's the of the most importance, and to a lot of people it always is of the most importance. But even when you look at price today in comparison to the same prices in history, like how much more fundamentally is Ronin firing on all pistons. So
that's what I have to think about myself too. I'm like, holy cow! Like all this hard work has been erased. Like, are we really back to like where we were, right? Like, basically like just a couple weeks after, right, Pixels launched, right? Like basically, have we erased really all the progress? I mean, that has happened with Ethereum, right? Which we're obviously very tied to as well.
Yeah.
But obviously the answer is no, right? Price is not a measure of progress. It's more of a measure of liquidity and, right, how bullish people are on crypto, the Web3 gaming at this given moment. It's not a reflection of fundamentals, right? And I put out that post by Jeff Bezos, right, where he was like, how he wrote in 2001 or 2002, right? He put out all these stats on all the growth and traction that Amazon had shown within the last year, right? And he's like, but how is it that our fundamentals and our traction and all the data has gotten so much better in 1 year, but the price is down 80%?
Yeah, I remember reading that article actually, and it was very interesting how they elaborated on that the markets essentially are like an environment of voting and then weighing, right? And really, like, the votes is essentially what, like, the opinion, and then the weight is then what turns out then to be the produce. So
yeah. I guess I'll chime in here and say, like, most of the people who are buying these things are, like, at the end of the day, traders, right? Like they come on the news, the hype, and all these things, and like analyze, okay, where's a good time to position themselves and so on. So like price is gonna fluctuate. I mean, look at Tesla, Nvidia, right? Like all these, you can say they're at their peak, but they've gone down like 30-40%. I think Tesla was down 50%, right? Because of like narrative shifts and so on. And Jihoz, you said earlier about, it was a tough time when, like, you lost your Ron during the hack, and like and I want to kind of like talk about that a little bit, because a lot of people look up to you, and you're a leader in our space and everything, and like you've gone through a lot of tough times, and like I think a lot of our community, like maybe some of them are like underwater, they're feeling some pain, right, with Ron themselves. Maybe it's not like they were hacked, but in a way, like their financials are tied to it. So like what would you tell to people who are going through those tough times? Like how would you like mentally look at things? Or like, well, you got any words for the people who are like
Yeah, I
in pain
mean,
in this scenario?
right, pain only comes when we look at the past and the future, right, with apprehension or regret or whatever, right? If you live in the present and you focus on what you can do every single second to become better, like with that type of mentality, it's much harder, right, to get stuck in a rut. And so to notice whether you're living in the past, the future, or the present, because only by living in the present can the future become better. So that's how I think about it. Obviously, we have to, right? You guys are running gymming. That's great. I definitely recommend it. I'm playing tennis, right? I'm going to the gym and I'm playing tennis every day. I'm trying to burn at least 1,000 calories, right? Like I'm tracking my calories, right? Like we're gamers, right? So it's like really fun to have a bit of gamification. I have the Aura Ring, which basically acts as a tracker of, right, like my daily progress in the game of, right, the Ronin gym. So, Ronin, you got to run in gym. You got to stay in the present. You have to be mindful. Obviously, right? Like, yeah, there are things to be. Oh, you can be worried about the future, right? It's logical. It's rational. I agree with you. I don't disagree with, right? Sometimes worrying about the future. I know that happens. That exists. But things are only going to get better if you live in the present and focus on what you can do second by freaking second, right? And also, right, I mean, this is very easy, right? Admittedly, this is very easy for me to understand and see, right? That, I mean, if I get really upset, right, and get so upset, down, sad, right, this is going to affect people in the community. That's going to affect people in Sky Mavis. And then, boom, like, it's what we fear will come to pass if we're afraid, only if we're sad. So obviously it's easier for me to, right, like understand this, right? Because, you know, a lot of people will get energy from me, but everyone within the network gets energy from everyone else from within the network. So if we spread positive energy, right, that's basically part of what will turn the ship around. That's also what will attract newcomers, right? And the thing that's needed to turn this thing around. If people see, oh, I don't want to be a part of this community. All they do is like complain and why would I want to be a part of this, right? But if we have immaculate vibes, regardless of the market, every single crypto community is down and feeling bad right now, right? It's not like we're unique. So if we can have immaculate vibes right now, then people are going to like, holy shit, like, you know, I've been on the wrong chain. I've been doing the wrong things. I need to be gaming. I need to be hanging out with these motherfucking runkies, right? So the mentality is actually the key, part of the key to turning things around. I would argue that the mentality is, you know, for the last couple of weeks or months, or obviously, I think that we've had like, you know, very good vibes, immaculate vibes, right? Within the last couple of weeks, it's understandable that people start to feel a little bit frustrated, upset, angry, scared. But that type of coming from that type of mentality is not going to be what turns this around. Yeah. It's not going to be what attracts people to the chain, right? So, you know, that's my observation. I had to, you know, it's not like I'm immune. Right? I had to give this talk to myself. Right? I was like, woke up on Monday. Wow, you know, things are pretty bad. It's like, you know, maybe it's a little more difficult, right, to go out, get up and go do the grind, right? But you got to do it anyway. And the only way that things can actually get better for the future is by focusing on the present, being energetic, having good energy. This is the only way. It's the only possible, right? It's the only possible way that things can get better. And for me, right, like I don't want to go back, you know, be in the future and look back and be like, oh, I could have done more, right? Like when everything went down in 2022, I look back with pride of when that happened. I did everything I could, right, to make sure that we were able to survive and keep going, right? Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts.
I think it's important to spread that as well. Like, of course, one of the reasons that I'm in the Ronin gym right now is like it's the small victories against resistance, and it does kind of put you in that mentality where, you know, to overcome or to get to achieve or to accomplish anything, you have to do things with that energy, even when you don't feel like it. There's times where you wake up, you don't want to go to the gym, or you could be in the middle of a set and you're tired and you don't really want to go back and do another set, and you kind of break through those things. But personally, you know, I think there's a lot of avenues in which people within the Ronin network can live in the present and to overcome those certain things and bring that energy to the table. And like you said, it really is going to be a factor of the attraction towards Ronin that will make a difference. More people coming to this network is a difference maker, and that starts from within the network itself. You know, being here every single week. This has been a tough time to host, you know, the show and to talk about the markets every single week when you're thinking, well, you know, there's probably a lot of people that may be like, why are you even borrowing, bro? We down bad. But we're always gonna, you know, turn up, show face, and make sure that we're taking care of the things that we can do. And I think one of those things is being honest also. I'm reading through the chat. Shout out to everyone that's coming through, because there's a lot of chats coming in. You know, there are a lot of things to be honest about and to look at, and to not really get lost into the semantics of those. I'm shouting out here to my Spiffy Magoo, who, core FUD right now, bro. I need to stare in that mirror, sing some Michael Jackson, and the real change starts with you, bro. The real change starts with you.
True.
No, it's real. It's real.
The biggest supporters, right, can like also feel the most pain, right? Like I met Spiffy.
Exactly.
I actually met him in a couple months ago, right? So, you know, I have love for him. He's been a supporter for a long time, right? I think he's going through some hard times right now. We're all going through hard times together, but
I was feeling a bit of pain with the Ronin Waypoint wallet yesterday, but
we flagged that. We'll flag a lot of that feedback, right? So if you guys could help them, I mean, basically what we want to do is merge the Waypoint and the Ronin wallet, so they're not two separate weird things, and then just make it so that the Ronin Waypoint is just like the email, right, login, right, flow. So yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be any pain related to it, to be honest.
It was my first time really diving into it and using it, and I was just struggling with certain things. Plus it turns out I also am the only player in the last Odyssey OBT that has an issue with it. But I sent out the joking tweet, and then I went to Ronin Gym, I did leg day, I came back, I was relaxed, and I had a DM of Trung in my DM on Twitter. So the Ronin Gym really helps. You know, it gives you a couple of hours.
Yeah, go away. You're not gonna go burn the timeline down, and then you come back and do something productive, bro.
You sweat like a motherfucker. You come back, and then Trung is like, your feedback's valuable to us, and you know everything turns around. But it wasn't. Yeah, that was. I think that we had a few back and forth by DM. There's also a lot of technical limitations, right? When it's very easy. It's very easy to just say this is like that. When you're facing some friction or annoyance using a thing, it's very easy to just say this is I don't like using this, I don't like that. But it's not very easy to change things, especially if you don't know the technical limitations of certain technologies plus compliances. So that's why when you do have feedback, it's important to always voice it in a constructive way. And that's the thing that I think some people might lack. No one in chat, of course. Everyone in chat is perfect. You're all lovely. You're all beautiful.
Oh god. God. Yeah, I think if we were to have a Waypoint show, I think there's probably upcoming. We can talk more detail of it next week and even collect some feedback on that point. But the big thing for me here today, from that tweet as well, we're still kind of drawing from that. On the to-do list was the buying back of Ron. That is a statement from yourself, Jihoz, as like a personal thing. People have been speculative and thinking about a Ron buyback. Is there a process that happened there? Let's unpack that.
Let's talk about like some of the mechanics of how this basically works and how it can work in the future, right? I mean, so there's obviously, right, founders buying back. That's not like a formal Ron buyback. I was just saying that, hey, Ron looks good here. I want to buy some, right? If I want to buy, that basically have to get clearance as well, that there's no insider trading risk, that there's no right and stuff like that. So that takes a bit of time to get through. There's also like the Ronin treasury. Owning Ron is basically owning a piece of the Ronin network, and the Ronin network, from an early age, has been conceived in a way to basically have superior value accrual mechanisms than many other blockchains. Yeah. Why? Remember that when we launched Katana, right, we used Katana as a way to launch the Ron token, to basically get the Ron token into the hands of the Axie community that had gotten us to the point that we were at that moment. And from an early age, right, we basically had this mechanism where Katana has a 0.05% fee, which is basically the Uniswap fee switch, but it was activated basically at birth and feeding the treasury. We also have, what else do we have, right? We have Ronin Market, right? So Katana is paying a 0.05% fee to the Ronin treasury. Ronin Market is also paying, right, a 0.5% fee of volume. That's basically OpenSea takes a 0.5% fee on their platform, right? The Ronin Market has a 0.5% fee that's going directly into the treasury. So 0.5% of all NFT volume on Ronin Market is going to the treasury. Mm-hmm. And this is such a strong precedent that when OpenSea came to Ronin, they're like, oh, we want to keep within the tradition of what happens on Ronin, which is everyone, right, who's performing critical volume is paying a piece to the treasury to ensure that, right, there's incentive alignment between anyone who's making money on Ronin as well as right, the Ron token. So we have the Ronin market. We also have the RNS system feeding fees into the treasury. And we also now have EIP 1559 implemented on Ronin, which basically means that every single time that RON is spent, a tiny portion of that is actually sent to the treasury. And then you might ask, oh, but this is the treasury, right? This doesn't, it's just the whatever. First of all, right now, all of that stuff, right? Like, actually the treasury owns a ton of Ronki because Ronki volume is really high, right? It's actually like, that's like a funny thing. Go research how much, you literally figure it out on the Ronin Block Explorer, right? Ronin Treasury, Ronin Community Treasury, look it up. How much freaking Ronki does the treasury own? I actually haven't checked in a couple of weeks, but it's going to be relatively high. It should be the most of any meme coin, right? Because the volume is highest. So what is the Ronke volume on Ronin? 0.05%. That's how much Ronke is owned by the community treasury. So, okay, well, this is just going in the treasury, blah, blah, blah. Actually, we do have a process, and maybe not a perfect process or the end process, but right now, anyone can also submit a Ronin improvement proposal, enhancement proposal, an REP. Made it different, so it's not an RIP, I guess. Although RIP would be
yeah, that was a good marketing play. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so anyone can, and actually we have proposed an REP for a RON buyback. Arctic has one, right? So he submitted this, as a governing validator, right? We do have the governing validator system, right? Where obviously kind of through the name, right? It's implied that they have some influence within the system. But anyone can submit an REP. And so he has submitted this. It's actually been approved by majority of the validators. So okay, like why hasn't it been implemented? Well, first of all, I think you're happy that it hasn't been implemented exactly when it was passed, because then it's like the treasury would have been maybe emptied of all its stable coins and ETH or whatever, at $4 and bought the top of $4 RON, right?
Yep.
So now I think we're happy that we have this kind of backstop reserve. There are also some complications, right? It's like, we have to make sure that there's no like your baby is there.
Oh yeah.
So
Sorry.
you have to make sure that basically, right, whoever is like holding the multi-sig, I think Trung mentioned this, so it's okay for me to mention, right, is like whoever is like, the multi-sig signers and stuff like that, they're not getting personally taxed for basically the transaction, right? So we're just like in the process of making sure that, we can figure out how to basically use the treasury in that way without like basically creating some crazy tax liability for whoever is using whoever the multi-sig signers of the treasury, right? So that's actually a little bit of the complication there, but that will be resolved. The mechanics are fundamentally sound there, and they're actually, when you actually talk to other people who have, right, who are on other chains, they're like, wow, that's actually a lot of, right, more, that's better mechanism design than other chains that don't have this way of ensuring that ERC20 volume on the chain and NFT volume on the chain fundamentally are backing the value of the token, right? On a lot of other chains, it's like, oh yeah, it's used for gas, right? But that might not be used. Because you don't actually want all of the utility to come from gas fees, because that basically means that gas fees need to be high for the token to have any value. Which is kind of the situation, right, that you have with Ethereum, right? It's like, oh, Ethereum, like transaction fees are low. Now people are complaining that price is low, even when it's actually cheap and easy to use. Later, when price is high, fees will be high, and people will be complaining, right, about it's difficult to use, right? Mm-hmm. So this is basically a system that's designed so that fees in the system can be really high based on volume, without basically creating like oppressive gas fees that make it fundamentally inaccessible to use the chain.
Yeah.
So
it's actually the action, not the instance of transaction is much better.
I got a question then about the treasury. Like, at what point do you think that you would want to deploy it, right? And Dubai, of course.
I mean,
like, for
I would
example,
want to deploy it, yes, as soon as possible, right? Like, so there is the thing around making sure that the signers do not get like basically a massive tax issue.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
And when we talk about deploying it, I guess my mind, and sure maybe other people's mind in the audience might be thinking, what does that look like?
So basically, I believe the proposal that passed is to use all of the the non-RON tokens to basically, so there's ETH, there's a ton of ETH in there, there's a ton of stable coins in the treasury.
Like 2 million in total.
Yeah, to basically use all of that to buy back to buy back RON.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have a separate proposal of what to do with the RON that is bought back, right? You could buy back and you could burn it to get it out of circulation, right? People are always like, oh, like there's too much RON out there, right? We need to burn RON. Okay, if you guys believe in that, we could maybe burn it. There are some, the validators, obviously they're like, no, like I would prefer, There's also a lot of RON that's not staked. So basically, let's penalize the non-stakers. A burn actually benefits all RON holders equally. A buyback and an airdrop to all stakers, benefits the people who are actually staking. So that's kind of like, if you're a staker, you're a validator, you might actually prefer the buyback and airdrop approach. A buyback and burn will basically cause a higher price. Buyback and airdrop will cause every staker to own a higher percentage of the network. Therefore, their net position value would be higher relative to where it was before and relative to the people who aren't staking.
Yeah. And that's subject to the layer of trust that the stakers would then take the airdrop and stake it.
Theoretically, right? So if they sell it, I guess it would
if they sell it, I'm gonna be at your door.
Speaking on that, like I think for me, I like to think of like what are the different strategies and ways that we can do things to increase more attention, right? Bring attention to RON and so on. I would think of like how to deploy it in a way where we can get more people to actually trade RON, right? Whichever path that is, because I think realistically, one of the biggest reasons why price goes up for a lot of these tokens is because you get the attention of traders, right? And then they start, doing perps and buying and selling and speculating and so on, and more volume starts coming in that just naturally pushes price up. One of the reasons, for example, AXS went so high to $160 was because people were like shorting this potato game, right? Like crazy, and they just kept getting liquidated and just price just kept being pushed up higher and higher. So I would love to see something where we can gamify and like get people more involved in like actually trading the asset. If I was, that's just my thoughts on it.
I mean, to build on that, the news of a burn in the mind of a trader for me is like a much more promising
signal. That could liquidate some shorts for sure, as well. Yeah, I mean, the reality is Coinbase and Binance are not what they used to be, right? Mm-hmm. Coinbase and Binance have been struggling this cycle, right? Because a lot of the volume for Bitcoin in the majors has gone into the fucking stock exchange, right? It's gone like totally Web 2. And Coinbase and Binance have lost, a lot of their kind of power, especially in like because the alt market hasn't been doing well, right? So a lot of volume across alts is not doing well. So it's like, the playbook might not be the same, right? Whereas last cycle where, basically volume was super high, especially like on alts on the major exchange chains. Do I think that those types of conditions will return again? Yes, but I believe that we have a lot of control over that in legal or moral ways? No, like a lot of the coins that have a lot of that are kind of just pumped up. Oh, what the fuck? Like, why is this thing in the top 100? Now, no one has ever heard of it, right? So usually what they will do is they will sell their tokens OTC and then use the proceeds from the OTC to basically buy the tokens, right? So there's a lot of like basically market making like craziness that can be done to basically get your coin to an artificially high market cap. But then what happens, right? You create a situation like Ohm or whatever that shit was that crashed 90% because there is
Mantra?
no actually
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
actual organic buying. That will probably, you know, there'll probably happen to more of these things that it's like, why is it in the top 100? I never heard of it. Yeah, like, you know, there's definitely some issues going on. Anyways, so yeah, but that said, I do believe that, right, like we have a responsibility as king of the gaming chains to basically, right, make sure that gaming is part of the conversation, that, you know, everyone in crypto is interested in bullish on gaming. Right now that hasn't happened, right? Like right now people are not really believing in applications of crypto. Anyone who's believed in crypto adoption and investing in crypto applications has basically gotten really wrecked. Right? Like nobody and that's kind of a big problem, right? That's also, right, it's like, you know, like, oh, VCs are selling RON. It's actually like those VCs, right, like basically are the good actors in the space that have, right, bet on legitimate crypto adoption, and, you know, things haven't panned out for them, and they might be on like a timeline where they need to you know, return funds to investors and things like that. So, you know, there's a lot of complexity, but I mean, obviously those things are hard and difficult, but for me, I always look at when things are hard and difficult, I see that as an opportunity, right? Because people are going to be low energy, people are going to be demotivated, people are going to be sad. It's easier, right, to compete in that type of environment, right?
Yeah, 100%. And even now, within, you know, the sentiment of the last month, Ronin has had the most active and live games that we've ever had on the network.
I mean, this is also the good thing, right? People are like, okay, they're kind of resigned to the market not being good. They're not holding out for some kind of crazy pump. They're like, fuck it, we're just gonna launch our game. You know, maybe we won't have the token live immediately, but we're gonna, right? The bear market is a good time to grind games. Bear conditions. I don't actually think we're in an extended, right, like extended bear cycle. I believe that we're in a kind of a momentary liquidity crunch, but this is a perfect time to game. This, right? So what are all the things that are bad, and how do we use that to our advantage? Oh, market is down, right? Crypto is boring. Great. It's time to freaking play games. Yep. This actually plays to our advantage. It's also, right, how we basically had the momentum in the bear to be able to come back and be one of the first things that pumped. So yeah, you're bored, you're sad. Okay, like let's play some games. I'm playing, you know, Fishing Frenzy, Cambria is sick. You know, Ragnarok Landverse is making a lot of progress. Like I actually need to do more of a deep dive there.
Runeverse has come up as well.
You know, Fableborn, we need you. Come back. You know,
I think Fableborn is gonna do some big shit.
I need someone to start an alt with me, right? Like we should also figure out some system or I need some power leveling, but obviously you cannot use a high level character to power level. So I need someone to start an alt with me because I kind of missed, right? I think I was traveling or I was busy, right? Like during the initial push where everyone got to max level, and now I'm like, holy fuck, I have to level all by myself, and it's a little bit difficult. But yeah, Fishing Frenzy, Cambria, Runeverse, right? Landverse, you know, these things are all live and playable. And we have, right, Fableborn, Lumiterra in the, you know, kind of waiting in on the sidelines to come in at the right moment. Lumiterra, I think, is fire, right? Like when I first played that, it was like, okay, this is like a super Web3 kind of degen MMO, but it's also mobile friendly and it plays relatively smoothly. And, you know, I think the team has only probably made it better. Fableborn, yeah, I mean, Fableborn, right, plays like a Web 2. It just plays like,
blue chip.
I don't know what is 1437. What does Steven think about Fableborn? Actually, you given it? You, I think, like played it a bit.
Yeah, I played it a little bit. I mean, it's really nice. I think I have a few ideas of how they can make the.
Well, they need to have PvP, right? So
yeah,
we spoke with Cam. We actually had Cam on the Ronin radio, and Theban was here with us. And
what did Cam say about potential PvP?
So my question to him was like, what did you think about making the game where like you can use the heroes and you can fight like 3v3, right? In like a team like environment? And his response to that was like, it's like they're trying to stay in their wheelhouse, right, with what they know and what they've built throughout the years. They've talked about it. They're open to the idea, but like for now, they just want to like really, you know, accomplish what they set out to build and what they know how to build first, because they know like if they stay on this path, they can deliver a successful game. So that's fair, right? That's fair. And as for like games right now, I think one thing that really stuck out to me more than like what type of games we have is actually Cambria's way of like getting people to pay to have like an entry into the game, into the leaderboard type thing. Like that is what has attracted me the most at the moment, right? Because I feel like that might have been one of the missing pieces to have like a true successful Web3 economy. And of course, like for me, Cambria is actually a very difficult PvP type game where I think a lot of noobs and like mid-level players are going to get wrecked. But if we can have a game where like it's not so physically taxing and it's more like strategic, but then you have to like have an entrance fee to play and participate, and like the fields is like a little bit more fair, we're gonna really cook on the Web3 aspect. That's what I think right now. I think that's the thing that has piqued my interest the most in the last like couple of months. Is what
Elaborating on
Cambria
it
has
as
done.
I mean,
to elaborate on that though, it's like it's they don't have the physical, like a lot of these entry points for the games in the past have been like direct NFT ownership, and you know that can bring other aspects to a player's inclusion, and then also you know the way that it is viewed by others on the outward, if that market there doesn't hold its weight right throughout the season and whatever. But this entry at the beginning, I was really impressed by, and you've seen, well, we can see it. You go onto the website, you see the daily tally of how much has been spent on charters, and then also the encouragement to buy more charters and stake charters, and that turnover is actually directly given to the airdrop, the reward system of the game. So the game doesn't actually end up net negative because they've put this huge amount of funds forward and it hasn't recouped. They actually have the fund kind of allocated to them to then redistribute. So it was really, really smart. And yeah, you've seen it play out, but physically taxing was something that you said, Steven, and I know that I probably hadn't looked at it from that perspective. But yeah, if a game emulated that process that Cambria has and the economics of the process of getting into this game, but not having to be like this 24/7 DGen MMO, maybe you would see high performance, but maybe even like a greater retention at a mass scale.
Right, like rather than this is the entire game, right? If there could be like some sort of a game mode, right, where it's like, right, like over this period of time, right, like everyone could join, and then the event is gonna start right at this on this week, right, for maybe 24 hours, right? Because people can stay up for 24 hours straight. So everyone has a certain amount of time to put in, and then boom, like 20, and then there's like enough notice time, right? And then
create a huge attention cycle with that as well,
boom, right? Like 24, right? You're kind of grinding your character as well to get better, and then boom, like let's go into the right, like nightmare zone, right? And then it's for 24 hours, it's like right, Guild Wars, PvP, right? Like trying to rack up as many points as possible, right? I can kind of see it as like PvE, PvP, right? So it's like you're trying to go and probably farm mobs, but then you're also trying to like kill others and like get their points while they're farming or whatever, right? So you kind of
limited supply of mobs, and then you end up in the field with other people.
After 24 hours, right? It's like whoever's guild points are the highest, right? It's like then the prize pool is distributed based on that, right?
I just want Jihoz take all of the good points, right, and just send it back to the MMO for Axie, bro. Because I don't like, I will continue saying this statement. I don't mind being the jester in the court for a long time, but it will be true. I promise you this. Axie MMO is going to save this whole fucking industry. So everything that we learn in these moments, everything that we learn from our fellow Ronin games, we take away what is good, and then we look at what is bad, and we improve it, and all of it goes in and plugs in towards the Axie MMO, bro. I'm telling you, that's how it's gonna go.
Makes sense. I mean, I don't want to wait until Axie MMO, to make like a concrete progress in the space as well. And I do think that the current stable of games, right? Like if they just are live and continue to iterate and get better, right? That's the way to do it. I mean, Classic was live for almost a year before anyone thought it was a good game. Right? That's not true. People actually really like Classic. Went up immediately upon when it was launched, and it actually had really good data for not having like the super souped up incentives, right? But it took kind of like 9 to 10 months for things to really get underway.
Yeah.
Sure. So what was the other point that I was gonna make?
Let it marinate.
Let's keep going.
Trevor had a really good question in chat, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
who is building the MMO? Like, I think we answered this right at the thing, but at the town hall. But the team working on Atia's legacy is like a unique mix. It's a unique mix of the people, right? Some of the original people who worked on Axie, right? Like the team that built. So the team that built Axie Classic is not the team that built Origins or Homeland, right? Maybe a mistake in retrospect, right? Where we're like, so the team that built Axie Classic is kind of like the people, some of the all-stars within Sky Mavis. And that team, so the team that built Axie Classic, or a lot of the core personnel that brought Axie Classic, they're also on Atia's legacy. They also understand Axie really well because they've been in the community because they've been working on Axie stuff for 7 years. But we also have people who have worked on MMOs of large scale that are also joining the team, that are also on the team and working on it. We also are also being advised on the game in many ways by people like Hilmar, the CEO of EVE Online. Right?
Yeah.
I think I saw a question about that. I was looking at some of the which questions do you have?
We've been collecting the questions throughout, and I think at the end we'll kind of go through all the audience questions and present them to you. Some of them are funny, but we'll get to that. I think one thing I wanted to really ask, and this is a very difficult question because there's so many semantics, and we can tangent greatly from here, but Jihoz, if you had like a crystal ball and you could see into the future, how would you see this turning around? What happens in that scenario? Like we can say this for like really broader, industry-wise, crypto in general, and macro factors that then would help that. I just want to have that perspective kind of communicated across to people. There are many ronkies out there, including myself in some aspects, where what are the things that we can anticipate or at least understand how they would affect this environment that we exist in.
So we have two phases, right? Coiling and exploding, right? We're back into a coiling phase, right? We're basically creating all this wood, we're strategically positioning it together so that when the warmth comes back, when the fire comes back, we're one of the things that burns the brightest. So how do I see this happening, right? It's like going to be a combination of, our games make progress. They're consistently online. And people are seeing, wow, crypto gaming has made a lot of progress. That's what I've seen a lot with, the feedback on Cambria. Holy shit, crypto gaming has made a lot of progress with Fableborn. Wow, these games are starting to look really freaking good. And then, so it's, the games being live, the market conditions turning. These are these are the prerequisites, for getting into another explosion phase. I would be worried about the future if two things hadn't happened, right? If Ronin and gaming wasn't the first thing that pumped in the cycle, I would be concerned. If Ronin and gaming weren't the things that pumped the most upon Trump's victory, I would be concerned. But those things happen, right? I do believe that the last 3 months or whatever has been a counter trend thing, right? Because the current administration's policy and their strategy is to do all the hard but correct things up front to basically front load the pain so that basically you're not having to do any of this hard medicine when they're trying to win elections, right? right now is the furthest period away from the midterm election, right? From the 4-year election. Therefore, it makes a lot of sense, right, to do all the things that are going to be like shocks to the system, shock therapy, right? This is what President Reagan did, right? They're literally openly saying that this is what they're doing. You know, so they're really doing what they said they're going to do. It's just the order is they're doing all the shock therapy stuff first, kind of almost simultaneously, right? They're cutting government spending. They're, you know, renegotiating these trade deals. So I do believe that, right, like all the, you know, hardest things for the market are coming up front, right? Next, we get deregulation, we get tax cuts, we get them, right, announcing that they're signing all these trade deals. We get the Fed dropping rates. So, you know, I do think it's going to be a combination of the games making continuous incremental progress that then gets highlighted as the market condition starts to turn, and people look at, oh, what pumped the hardest when the economy was, you know, expected to do really well under Trump, and then boom, that happens, and oh shit, like gaming was actually the best performing sector during that initial Trump pump rally from right November 9th or whatever to December 17th.
Makes sense. I mean, I think we're getting close to that already right now. I mean,
I think the worst has happened, right? Like,
I think so too.
To be honest, but you know, we'll see. I mean, whatever. If it gets worse, you know, I'm also prepared for that, right? It's like, dude, just I'm not in leverage positions, right? If you're not in leverage positions and you have, right, like, you know, I don't think that, you know, Web3 should be your primary form of income, right? You know, it can be a side hustle too. It's a great hobby, and right, it can also be very lucrative, right? Like when things are going really well. But right, it's like, you know, you know, it's important to also, right, like not have leverage and to have some form of, you know, income stream, you know, outside of it or within it, right? Like, oh, right, you're getting some sort of a contract in some way, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a kind of an internal thing as well. Like if I'm sitting here, you know, this whole thing, everything could go to absolutely zero. I don't think it would change like my approach and the energy that I you know, I come to the space with. Because
I mean, you cannot have your happiness determined on
a price factor, right? Like I'm here for the sense. I guess not the sentiment. It really is the vision. You know, that translated to me when I first understood what Axie was, and then ultimately, you know, what Sky Mavis was doing to facilitate Axie, and then also the mission statements of Sky Mavis and what that could, you know, become. And understanding that is so difficult to create. Understanding how emerging markets traditionally have acted and how many losers there are in that environment. Like all of these things were acknowledged. And I would think that anybody that has come into the space and that is in the space, and especially those that are like totally leveraged to their income through this space, would have weighed those factors in. And I think, you know, that's kind of where I'm at, where, you know, pain is not so painful as such to me, because I understood this from inception. So, but even in these moments, it's sometimes laughable. So like I like to pull jokes from it. I like to have the irony, because ultimately, like, there are so many good signs. There are so many good things that are still happening. We are so much further forward than when I first took the gamble on this becoming real, or you know, us actually completing this journey. So, you know, I would like to think that there are many that share that sentiment, and if not, then tuning into the Ronin Radio every single week, you'll hear it from me every single time until it's hard coded in your head. But no, I think you really have brought a lot of perspectives to the show today. It's important to hear from you directly all the time. There are a lot of questions from, you know, people in the chat. We've been collecting them throughout the show, so I think we'll deliver some of those over. Let the community speak.
Yeah, man, I can also answer them, right? Like, oh, send me the thing. I'll like type out like you know, thoughtful responses. Yeah, I do think that I'm quite a good writer, but it is a little bit easier, right, to explain some of this stuff a bit live, right, where you can see emotion and intonation. But yeah, I mean, I believe I am quite a good writer, so I can.
How about this, Jihoz? How about this? And we can do this.
I think I can answer some of those questions. I mean, if you see any, I can piece out. But if there's any that you see, feel like, oh fuck, we really need to ask this to Gio right now. Like, definitely hit me up.
Yeah, but how about let's do this as well from the social media account on Ronin Radio. Let's make this post out now if this works. Right, we make a post to say that like if you do have a question specifically for Jihoz to answer, they can put it in the comments there, and you can use that.
We're also. Me and Alex will also have the first or one of the, we're going to have a Ronin town hall, just like me and Trung will do that for Axie from time to time. We're going to have like some sort of a town hall as well, a dojo. What should we call it? We'll have one of those, next week, I believe in Ronin Discord. So yeah.
What time is it going to be?
Probably 4 a.m. in the morning for you, bro.
4 a.m. EU.
I think it's like actually going to be right before Ronin Radio next Thursday, maybe, right? Like, so think about that slot. I think like 8. It might be 8:30, like maybe like 8:30 in the morning or something like that. 8:30 a.m.
Nice.
So
you should call it either the Council of Blades.
Yeah. So.
Or Daimyo's Assembly.
I used to be really into.
These are from GPT right here.
I used to study that book Musashi. Like I actually read. There's a book like this big about Musashi. Who was actually a Ronin, and it's like a thick book. I read that when I was like in 4th grade.
But there's a lot here. Ask GPT here. Can you give me some traditional, or give me some titles along the topic of traditional Ronin, and there would be meetings. The general ones, like I said, the Council of Blades, Daimyo's Assembly.
Council of Blades sounds sick.
Yeah, that's the Council of Blades is up there. Meditations in the dojo. Whispers in the bamboo grove. There's some decent ones here. There's some decent ones, but no. Looking forward to that. If we get announcements, we'll see that on the Ronin page. So make sure you guys, of course, are following the Ronin page. But more importantly than following it, have the post notifications on, because anything important information that comes out will come out from there. Honestly, when I'm scrolling back through, I mean, unless you guys have any rebuttals on that, Stark and Theban, I don't. Are there questions that are absolutely in necessity to answer right now?
There was Trevor's question. I think is quite interesting, and I'd like Jihoz's opinion on it. Where he says, "Do you think more games should be multi-chain like Cambria?" So, and more broadly, like I'd like to know your thoughts, Jihoz, on Ronin games being multi-chain. What are the pros? What are the cons? Personal. Or whatever you can say about that, if you're, what jumps to mind?
You're gonna get a good answer when Jihoz thinks like this before he answers.
I think it really depends. It does depend on the on your audience, right? I think like there's that. Cambria has its own kind of degen, right? Like points farming, right? First on Blast, now on Abstract, right? Like they have that kind of audience. So I think for them, it definitely makes sense. So yeah, I think we need to see more experimentations around it, right? Like I was a little bit more like kind of against it. But I think it's working pretty reasonably well for Cambria. So, I think that's just facts, right? That's just happening. So that's something that is.
I think it was more of a content thing as well, though.
To me, it's also right. Like, what did I talk about last year? Unity, right? To me, it would be great if there are partners and other ecosystems that can have a net beneficial effect with us, right? So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it, right? Is that for too long, it's been only us in Web3 gaming, trying to do everything ourselves, right? So, but whereas, right, like, it might be that if there's an ecosystem of conscientious and productive and well-reasoned builders, right, that should elevate the entire industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from Cambria's perspective as well, it was more of a content aspect, because now if you have a character with a Ronin wallet, you get aspects of the game specifically for that, and then if you have a character with like made from a Cambria wallet, there's directly abstract, not Cambria wallet, an abstract wallet. There's direct rewards in the abstract ecosystem as well, so it kind of gives the player two ways to play the game as well. And a lot of the time, you kind of have to think of it from the game's perspective as like ultimately they're looking for their best case scenario, right? So I don't know whether it's like, I don't think it is down to utility. It doesn't make the game like perform better from like players find it easy to use, etc. It's just a cross-pollination discoverability, and I think if the cross-pollination does take people from other networks to an experience, and then they notice that there's more Ronin wallets in here, why would so many more people use a Ronin wallet, and they explore other ecosystems because of that, I think then that is a good aspect of it. But I'm biased. I just Ronin wallet me, bro. Just bring it to Ronin. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Bring it to Ronin. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that kind of emerges as we see more as well. Natural games building on Ronin, they're unofficial. They kind of just come and announce that they'll be building here, and I think that those are good aspects too, because they bring communities from other environments to Ronin, and they still may be very much multi-chain. So that I can be in favor of. But if they don't bring the game to Ronin, then hey, I don't give a shit if your game is multi-chain, brother. Unfortunately,
I think it really depends on the strategy and the implementation. But
the implementation.
I think it's working.
Like everything. Sorry, cut you off there. But shout out to Trevor for the good question.
Dude, Stark is looking good, bro. Stark, you're looking good, bro. Like you got like some color in your face, right? Like you've been hitting the running gym.
He just been in there. He's coming back. Someone said that your hairline was going parabolic and it's a bullish sign, bro. I know that you saw that in the chat and you were giggling. I saw the giggle at the time when I was like, oh god. But we were in the middle of an important topic, so I didn't want to bring it to light. But I definitely saw the acknowledgement.
Massive forehead. No,
I've had my food.
I'm coiling. Aha, the traditional.
Oh yes.
The eggs, the veggies, the meat. Nice.
Protein
I'm
in
my coiling phase, so just to be at maximum strength whenever we start going.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Jihoz, bro, I wanted to say thank you, man. I appreciate you for coming through.
I got a question before we let him go. One last question.
I want to come like once a month or something. Okay.
I'll ask you right now, Jihoz. Okay. When are you gonna change your PFP to a Ronke PFP? That's from Twitter. They've been waiting. They said you were gonna do it. Apparently, they said you were gonna do it, but you haven't done it yet. So they're curious.
Timing is everything, actually.
I haven't seen the right time. And in retrospect, it will have been inevitable.
Yeah, there you go, you Ronkies. There you go. Honestly, the conversation as of this morning, I scanned through as I logged in. Ronki's the narrative is definitely going to come back harder than ever. I don't think it left. It never really went anywhere. But
Ronki's back. I think Ronki needs to create some sort of an application. To be honest, why not create the Ronki Island, application? I think that would be cool. I would literally buy Ronki to play it. So I don't know. I think they should do something like that, like maybe some sort of an on-chain game. Something super Web3 and degen. I believe that they should experiment with making an app that also gives more utility to the NFTs, right? So make some sort of very kind of like on-chain game with Ronke. I'll buy the dip if they. That's a recommendation to the crew.
I think we should probably have like a moment, bring Sushi through and bring through some of the people who have been working really hard in the Ronki community, and have just like a jam session to think about it, brainstorm. Community can come along, chatters can recommend in the chat, and we could probably come out of that with an idea and a formalized plan. But I think if anything with Ronki, yes, maybe like game, cool, yes. But I think the social aspect of that game should be the prior, like the main factor. Like if you can create an experience in which if you could take the Ronki chat and turn it into an application with some levels of utility, that's when you'd see some fucking power, right? And people would want to be represented in that environment, and the application.
Imagine if like the number of emoji responses that you got that are somehow like deemed, viable or something like that. There's something there. It's like Ronki Shot is like a game where you're trying to get like as many fucking emoji responses as possible, right? Even for me, obviously, like people are gonna be hype if I come in, but there are certain things that I can say that will get them more interested than others, right?
Yeah, like saying you're gonna buy the dip.
Yeah, there'll be 1,000, 100,000 of Ronki emojis on that.
I'm waiting for the dip.
Coco's still eating breakfast. Psych Out is still flying. Like I don't know. I love that kind of like chain or whatever, right? It's like Jihoz is waiting for the dip. Like
it's the best chat ever, man. It's fucking hilarious.
Raul's son is waiting for him at the bus stop.
Oh my god.
Raul's son is an orphan.
Yeah. Well, hey, prayers go out to Rallo because he had a tweet saying he was disappearing or something.
This coffee is amazing. This is Vietnamese coffee. It's twice as strong as normal coffee, but it's not acidic. It kind of tastes like chocolate and nuts.
What is it called?
I highly recommend it.
It's just Vietnamese coffee.
Vietnamese coffee. So make sure that you get a Robusta. I think like this is a Highlands coffee. I'm not sure. I mean, you should be able to get in Asia. It's a little bit more difficult to get here. Especially now, I don't know. I don't know if the tariffs are in effect, to be honest, but
they're in effect, all right.
They're in effect on Vietnamese coffee for sure. Bro, what a fucking show! Don't want to show. I think we could do that. We could definitely do that. Get the Rockies together, bro. That would be a new start.
Vietnamese coffee in America, but
yeah.
All right, boys. It's been a pleasure.
We appreciate you. Appreciate you, man.
Second by second, I'm, obviously, right. If we think about a lot of shit, we can feel pain, right? But we need to take it second by second. And I always think about, right, like how gaming and Ronin and Axie pumped super hard off the initial Trump victory news. That was the market showing its hand. The last couple months, I believe, is right like a false move based on liquidity constraints. And obviously, the thing that's furthest out on the risk curve is going to be the most affected by a liquidity, right? Like this is the most speculative, like crazy stuff in the world right now, right? Like you have to understand that to basically, right, like be in the space, right? It's like Web3 gaming is kind of, right, like a niche within a niche. And that's also, right, like what creates the possibility and the potential for, right, future growth.
That's the multiplier.
Experimental and crazy technology, right? That's also seen as very risky. When people are afraid, when they're like, "Oh, I need cash," and stuff like that. This is the stuff that will, right? This was the stuff that will suffer the most, right? Because it's the most like experimental, basically technology out there, right? You're also seeing this with DeFi, and basically any like real consumer use case of crypto is like very, right, like on the far out on the risk curve. We have to be, right, like we have to be aware of that. And until, right, this becomes like an established boring industry, it's going to be like that. When this thing, right, and this becomes like a stable thing, right, that everyone accepts or whatever, like it's going to be a lot boring, right? It's going to be more boring, and the vibes are not going to be like this.
You'll pray for that volatility to come back, right? Traders will. I know that.
Before, right, it gets like commercialized and really boring.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to Powell yesterday. He was speaking, and he actually talked about crypto. It was one of the questions, and he's actually in favor of it, like of it being, more legitimized and having more structure. I think was like something around.
Yeah, everyone, everyone is, right, like starting to accept it, and we just saw a shout out to Cybercoms for
W for Cybercoms.
Finally, not having, right, like the SEC breathing down their neck and all that stuff. That's really hard to operate in a situation like that, I assume, right? Where you're basically afraid that the government, anything you do, the government is going to be like angry at you or attacking you or hunting you down. I think that they deserve reparations. they deserve reparations, right? Because they had to kind of operate with their hands behind their back, for a while. Anyways, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go to the gym, but much love. Thanks for having me. Like, I would love to come back, dude. I like this format. This is a vibe.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen, bro. We always will. Appreciate you for coming through. And yeah, man, shout out to you. And let's continue. We're gonna continue it going because we're gonna get ronkified after you depart here. Jihoz, maybe address one or two, few more things. But listen, if you missed this today, here you go. It is on YouTube as well, so you can watch this back. And we are halfway to our 500 subscribers, at which point we will give out one of those Ronki PFP NFTs. So shout out to everyone that tuned in. Thank you again, Jihoz, and I hope you guys got some value from our conversation today. Much love. Brothers, holy shit. Okay, yo, listen.
That was good.
Listen. It's we're still in the building. Shout out to everyone that's still in here. Over 2,000 people tuned into the show today. So huge W, and really appreciative to the community that have come through. Those that were here from the start, sharing around, and we hit some great numbers. So really important conversations. I guess we'll touch back on some of those things. Understanding levels of the treasury is I think is one of those standout moments that we spoke about. The REPs and how they have existed already and what they could do in the future is big moments too. Lots of DGen chat. We got the PFP potential inevitable from Jihoz himself. Mr. Ronki's like making noise back there. I think the application 100% should happen for Ronki. It needs it. What's happening right now though? I will say this, you guys. Are you ready? Are you prepared?
Well, that's kind of weird, right? If
No. Stephen, we can say we can do this. We can do this convo in a moment, right? Are you ready and prepared for this absolute shocking, crazy, amazing news that's happening right now live?
Show it.
Well, the thing that is happening live and right now, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed the WoW 3 Chica NFTs are live and minting. They are live and minting, but they are live and minting for the team only. The public phase is still. No. Oh no! This is guaranteed whitelist. This is guaranteed whitelist.
I just minted and I'm not on the team, bro.
Yes. Okay, cool.
They
Awesome.
did not over allocate. They allocated probably under allocated whitelist spots. So so there's going to be an opportunity for sure. I think it's nice. It looks very nice and it's very cheap. So we'll see what they do with it as well. I'm quite interested.
If you it might feel, just think about when the market's back up, you're gonna want a nice interface to look at your nice gains, your nice portfolio. You have 2 slots.
I don't have one. I don't have one.
Yeah, you need to
start. Bonus, but I don't have any. I actually don't have any.
Somebody send Dilla some Ron, please. He's broke.
I'm broke. I need 20 Ron, lads. Yo, bro, fire it through. If I buy one Chica right now, I'm it's like broke. I don't want to be able to do transactions. So.
Shout out to Ghostin, who just minted 1 item. He's playing last Odyssey. We're in the same guild. Once I can get my waypoint working, I'm gonna tear shit up.
Hell yeah. Last Odyssey, bro. I mean, I haven't even. I need to open it up. It's gonna, it's probably gonna be part of my day today. Other thing that's gonna be part of my day is Realms of Illuria. I want to try it out. So.
Well, yeah, like at the very start, Steven was talking about the last day of the season. It's not that I choked. It's just that I didn't realize because it's the. I
choked. When I finished 900, I was 200. Fuck you.
No
Sorry.
Cigar. I was ranked 3 the day before the season ended, after playing my games, and instead of just waiting, camping and waiting for other people to play their games around you, I just played more games the day before, crashed, climbed back up, almost got there, didn't quite make it. But it's the last day of the final era is on another level crazy. It's like another game, right? About when you play, what you play. It's even more important to take your time. I enjoyed it thoroughly, though. I just felt a bit like it's actually anytime I actually try hard, it's like the times that I do well. The other season, I think was season 4, that Jinx did well in Epic Era, and I finished top 10. And I believe Theban, you were playing Jinx as well that season, or at least part of it. Makes me want to actually maybe try with morph taxis, everything like that, with proper try to play the meta sometimes, but it's just I find it so boring to play the same thing that everybody else is playing. I get my fun from trying to be. It might be Jinx most of the time.
A disruptor.
I like being a disruptor. I don't like. It makes me want to pull my hair out. I remember the first season with Rage, where every single team in the top 100 was Rage, like, and everyone was saying the same things. I think it's but it's exciting for me to think about maybe trying next season, maybe trying to go hard and see if I can not just compete, but also like manage the ROI, because I think. That's the Web3 guy in me,
bro. I've given up on ROI and Axie fucking 2 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. I just play for the shits and gigs.
Can we just go back, because I don't think we can ask the chat if they think this was true or not true, but planned or not. But those stickers on the wall when Jihoz went,
bro. I was just we need to add one for Ronky Price. Yeah, the stream started and he was like, "Oh, sorry, you guys saw that?" Yes.
It was like that for until you mentioned it. It was like that until I think it was Stephen who mentioned it.
Bro, that shit said that shit said $100 run. Bullish.
Yeah. $500 AXS, $20 billion Sky Mavis. I saw it. If you look back, you can see me. As soon as he goes live, I'm chuckling and I'm like, "Holy shit! Is this?" I
thought when I first saw it, I thought he was in the Sky Mavis office, and it was just like. I don't know, like signs on the wall.
You can see it's bright. It's like he's in the States.
Yes, but bro, I don't have a brain that works well.
Yeah, you're wrong.
So like, I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, in Vietnam it would be dark right now.
$500 AXS,
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, damn, bro.
You're gonna make it fucking real, cool. Brothers. The Ronkies will make it happen. We were about to touch on that though, Theben. You were about to touch on it. The application for Ronky.
Oh yeah, like I was gonna say, if Ronky had an application, then it doesn't really live up to the name of like no utility, right? That's one of the models, no utility. I mean,
but I think it's so nearsighted. Like I understand no utility.
Okay, tell me one utility coin that's doing well.
No, guys.
At this point, utility is like a curse, bro. At this point,
but it's not necessarily saying that it's utility. Like, I just think that it's marketability.
Yeah, then you
I think create
culture.
I know, but I think create an application in which marketability is the output. It's not utility. It's marketability.
Sushi, the man himself, says utility is FUD. That's
see, you're falling for the trap. That's the mid curve, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, well here's mid curve. Here's mid curve. You want to get into semantics, ladies and gentlemen? Here's fucking mid curve for you. In the Ronky chat right now, if you have a Ronky PFP NFT in your wallet, you get a roll. Is that not utility? Is me having a Ronky roll not utility from my PFP?
No, that's just a sign of retardation, you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want a medium.
As a Ronky, and
I want a medium.
It's normal.
I want a medium to then present and project my acceptance of Ronkitardation. That's all I'm asking. I would like it, and maybe others would like it too. Would more others like it than not like it? Maybe, but we don't know that, do we?
Yeah, we can build a game for Ronky, but it's not utility. We can build a game for Ronky, but it's not utility.
After all, it is a game of semantics, and as long as you don't call it utility, it's not utility.
Yeah. Well, how about we make a game that has fuck all to do with Ronky, but Ronky's in it. That's not utility.
Yeah.
We're in all these other games.
They're so exactly. Yeah, we can build it. We can build a game for Ronky, but it's not utility.
No. We're not building a game for Ronky.
Ronky would never be utility. Okay, let's just get that straight. All right.
Okay.
Ronky. Okay, there you go.
I'm sorry.
Ronky could be a screwdriver, but it's not utility.
Community as utility. What do you think? Is community a utility?
I just told you, Ronky doesn't have utility.
Yeah.
So you got the answer to the question.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Okay,
Okay.
Ronke doesn't have utility. That's it. No utility. Top one.
top number one up there. No.
I mean,
We're doing
to
it.
be honest, look at everything. Ronke actually went down probably the least of everything.
Oh, facts. Ronke could have been your form of stability in this
Safe haven,
last
stable,
2 months.
Stable
Yeah.
coin. It's being a stable coin utility, lads.
Bro, Bume, oh my god, bro. Did you see what Bume put in the comments, bro?
What did he say?
Sake. It's a community as utility. That sounds like Pixel Dragons. Shout out to the Pixel Dragons. They gave us what this. You a bastard, though, Bume. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I just think it would be pretty fucking cool. Pretty fucking cool.
Bro, can I say I hate this 3 setup? Why is it got like close-ups and shit? Can you just go back to what it was?
That's much better.
Go back to that, or like how it was before. So there we go. This is so much
bro,
better.
you don't want to be next to start with that, bro. You guys are cozy.
No, this looks like
I'm too close to myself even.
Listen, Stark just finished like the most like sweaty seasons. He probably hasn't even showered yet. Why would I want to be beside him right now?
Hey, I went to the gym after the season, so I'm good. I showered.
Even worse, he probably went to the gym.
I showered before going out in public. You fucking degenerates.
I was just saying, same shirt, right? Yeah.
I live
The shirt.
Wait, that was the same shirt.
The same shirt, bro.
I live next to my fucking washing machine. This is a washing machine. I just as soon as
that's not the toilet you're sitting on?
No, it's both.
No. We debunked the bathroom conversation last show. We debunked it. No facts. To be fair, Stark could have sat there,
So that wire
finished the season.
Is that a bidet in the back?
No. It's
okay.
It's the piping for the washing machine. Yeah, he's in his utility room. That's FUD, bro. You're in a room full of FUD.
Oh, my room is FUD. Holy shit! I need to get the computer out of here.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, do you guys want to go back and address it? Yo, Spliffy is angry right now, bro. I'm telling you. If Spliffy, if you wanted to come, no, like,
why is he angry? What do you say?
He's not angry. It's just Spliffy sentiment right now is like all time. I'm dying. Please,
Spliffy
fucking send A&E ambulance.
What did he say? Tell me what he said.
How can you not see you in this thing? Okay, well, Spliffy Magoo.
Okay,
I'm gonna read out. Big shout out to Spliffy Magoo because I actually love the guy and is fucking supportive for the longest time. So that's what we're going based off of. And every time he talks in the chat, it's acknowledged and he has great contributions. We've gone from comments in the Ronin Radio chat as of last year being $200 run to today. Right, I'm gonna read out every Spliffy Magoo comment from today's show for the last hour and 30 minutes. It starts here. Basically. This was in response to something that's been said. It was weeks, ? But then after that, the statement is straight down for 1 year, dude. The next one is been a tough few 52 weeks. And the next one is gone from 2 million daily users to 400,000 users. So yes, progress has regressed. The data is not better. We have to be honest. The data is much worse than 1 year ago. The next comment is, this is like if Tesla sales were down 70% in 1 year and Elon said fundamentals are better than ever.
Well, actually, Elon literally said that. About
he did.
Tesla was down 50%. He literally said that, right? And he didn't tell them go buy Tesla stock. He just said like, it's way better than it was when you guys were buying this shit at this price last time, or even at the top.
And even I think the only numbers there Spliffy Magoo gave was the daily users, but that's down overall. What price goes down, things go down. It's true. It's a very important fucking metric. I'm not sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah.
But look at how many games we have. Look how many games, not just that we have on the network, but games that are actually playable. Not welcome all these guys buy their NFTs and then they fuck off.
Okay. You know what? I'll put it into perspective. Let's tell a story. Okay, let's tell a story. All right. Let's say what actually happened. Right. So. We had Ronin. We had, fuck you. Like,
you made no, bro. Tell us a story, bro. Tell us a story.
No,
you set the stage.
I am not telling a story unless you go back. Go back. All right, thank you. I don't like center stage. Let me just tell my story in peace, okay?
Okay.
So Because I don't know if while I'm telling my story, you're picking your fucking nose. Like I gotta see that shit, man.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So okay. So all right. So we had our bear market, right? Ron was like at 20 cents at the bottom. People bought up. Then the gaming narrative started to pick up near the end of 2023, I would say, right? Near the end of 2023, gaming narrative started picking up, and then people started looking at Ron, and people started looking at AVAX and other gaming chains too. It wasn't just Ron that pumped, right? When it came to games. So during the peak of 2024, we had like $4 Ron. Everything was blasting. People were buying like Wild Forest. Are you in a disco, Stark?
No, I can hear music.
Yeah, what is that?
Gila's putting music on for your story, the little fucker.
Where'd he go now? Can you come, Gila? Can you come back?
I was
God
Sorry,
damn
I
it.
don't want to. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to ruin your story. I was adding ambiance to it, and that.
All right. Okay. Anyway, we hit the peak, right? And remember, crypto is traded. It's an asset to be traded. It's not about just people. Believers are the only ones who hold it. Traders hold it, right? So when traders see a narrative picking up and they start buying into it, remember that they're also looking for an exit, right? Unlike believers like us or whoever else who think we're gonna go to $20, $50 or whatever, traders have a point. At a point, they're gonna exit because they feel like they've got enough. Sometimes it's 1.2x, sometimes 1.7x, 2.5x. They look at charts. They don't care about you or your emotions or your feelings or where you're headed. Okay, they care about their profits. So there came a point where the gaming narrative started topping out, and they're like, all right guys, well, let's call it a day, take our profits, get the fuck out. And that's what happened. They took their profits. We came into the summer, we started having the slow decline, go down to $1, even though the same gamers are still here playing the game. Okay, it doesn't mean that the product is worse, right? It doesn't mean that only the team or whoever you may think was selling. I'm sure a lot of people were taking their profits, right? Maybe we weren't, or you weren't, or whoever wasn't. Someone was, right? So slow decline. And when Jihoz said, oh, well, gaming or whatever pumped the hardest during the Trump rally, that's because there was a lot of people speculating about crypto, right? And what Trump means to crypto. So now there was a narrative behind that, right? That was pushing price up. That's why Bitcoin started going from like 60K ETF news, pumping 80K, Trump news, pumping 108K at the top, right? But that all happened right before the inauguration. The inauguration was literally the top because once Trump came into power, now people are starting to take profits. They're not waiting for further news to come because the news already happened, right? Yeah. So I'm sure you've heard the saying, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. So when Trump came into power, that was like sell the news. As for gaming, when it was like at $1, 20 cents or whatever, and it pumped for Ron at least to $2.40, that's what he was talking about, saying that, well, Ron was at $1.20, it went to $2.40. That's a 2x right there, right? Like what else went 2x apart from like meme coins, essentially, right? During this rally. So, when you put it into perspective and you think about it, you're like, okay, well, it makes sense, right? Again, crypto, an asset to be traded, right? It's not just this cycle is so much different than like 2021, where believers, investors, all they had to do was just ride this to them. Things are much different. In this current environment, there was so much money that is spread out through meme coins and all this other bullshit that there isn't enough money going into the utility stuff, right? Normally,
there's more TVL in fart than there is in ROM right now. Like that's the environment we're in.
So don't blaspheme about farts.
What would have happened was instead of money flowing into the memes, it would have flowed into the utility. The money that was supposed to flow into these other alts that is utility actually went into the meme coins, right? Because people were able to get multiple more X's in there. So again, people in crypto are degens at the end of the day. So they wanted to find the place where they can make the most amount of money. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now
that's an amazing story. But no, genuinely, I'm not. This is not patronizing.
I'll finish it off because I didn't get to finish off the rest. Right? So we've been downhill since the inauguration. This is just a pullback. Okay, this is the pullback. Sure, Ron is down a lot, but again, remember there were taxes season or whatever for Americans a couple of days ago. So people are selling, they were harvesting whatever their losses as well at the same time, and whatever they might have been doing. And then now I feel like we're really reaching the bottom, right? So that in combination with the pullback from the inauguration, maybe right now we are at the bottom, and maybe this is where it turns around. I don't know. Maybe you're
Yeah.
knife catching. I also
Well,
don't know.
the lower we
But-
go, the closer we are to the bottom. That's for sure.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
No,
Good.
I-
Yeah, that's a great,
That's it.
great
That's the
fucking
story.
way to.
There you go.
No,
There
so,
you have it.
especially when you add on what I thought it was very like it was a good reminder what Jihoz said about like I had almost forgotten until he reminded me of it, reminded us of it, that how you remember how awesome it felt like during like the when he won the election, and then Ron and AXS were outperforming all of the other gaming coins, and we were like, finally some recognition. And it's a good thing to it's not the only thing that matters, right? But it's a good thing to look at, because if things are pumping, and when they really are pumping, or when off of this sell the news event or the rumor that was coming true, so to speak, it does confirm that there's people out there, and that the Ronin ecosystem has this capacity to bounce hard when it eventually
This is
happens.
the moment. This is the moment we're talking about, right? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Like I would recommend everybody,
inauguration.
like anyone in crypto, I would say like you don't have to trade. You don't have to like, do anything in terms of like finances with it. But I would highly recommend people to at least try to learn like some TA, or like some very basic TA, right? Like understanding charts and how they work and what they mean, and like the signals that they send, because it will help you. It will help you with your mental, especially because you will understand more the story of what is actually happening, and then you won't be confused with like when price goes down or when price goes up, or be surprised by it.
Yeah, I think for me, your story that you told, this market is maturing, right? The last cycle was very much, there was a position, there was an environment that was optimized and set up where it's like, if you just ride this wave, more people are going to see it, and then they're going to get on this wave. And it is almost like that pyramid-esque approach to the whole climb of the real bull market that happened in 2021, right? I think as time happens, as people's ideas around crypto, as more products come to crypto, as more participants come to crypto, like there is a maturing effect of this market that then happens. And like the last bull was largely weighed off of just votes. It was just a votes bull, right? People voted that yes, this crypto thing is something I'm going to buy. It's going to be more valuable. A lot of people came and stacked on top of that, and it kind of grew to what it was. And then the depreciation of that happened in the bear market cycle when prices had to be realized. But what I'm trying to get at here is I think Ron is definitely, and this is actually tying to what Spliffy mentioned with like metrics of million plus daily actives to like 400,000 now. And like, this is the weighing phase. Right? For me, this is the weighing phase. The people that actually are using Ronin today are actually the target market, like the people that you would want to be using Ronin, the gamers, the people that are crypto native and they do have exposure to crypto and they like the crossover of gaming and on-chain aspects, right? And they want to explore these applications. At the time when you had million plus, where was sentiment? It probably had a lot more votes than weight in terms of actual users that are that contribute to what's trying to be accomplished here. Whereas a lot of the time, like Steven said, the traders were there, they were involved, and they were here for a narrative. But that isn't actually contributing to the fundamental growth of Ronin, just the price, the asset appreciation. Yes. So you have to like eradicate the two. Like, I get it if you are exposed and nobody likes to see the price of RON going down. I am considerably more broke today than back in November. All right, I could do so much more in November than I can do today, and it don't feel great, brother. Just let that be known. It does not feel great, but the ability to acknowledge that and analyze that and understand that also means that I don't actually have fear. I'm not fearful. And I think the fear is then what opens up the can of worms of like the intricate analysis of, oh my God, but this is bad. Oh my God, this is worse than it was before. Oh my God, you know, you become a little bit of a pussy. And that's not aimed at you directly, Spiffy, because I think you're not a pussy, very much so. But
It's just like, it's a hard time to be a believer of anything when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to crypto. That's it. Like, it's not just you, it's everybody. Like, if you were in Bitcoin, you were happy, but if you weren't, you probably weren't happy. That's it. And that's just a sentiment across the board, right? AI, I think, had a little meta bull run for a little while, right? The same way that gaming did. Imagine when gaming had its bull run in 2024. Like, how do you think the rest of the market felt? Right? They probably didn't feel very good about it. So it just happens to be that way, and you just have to be patient. Like, if you're a real believer, like, just take. And I think what Jihoz said is very true. Like, at the end of the day, one of the things that makes us who we are is we know we got heart, at least. Right? So you just gotta get through the pain, and hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel.
this. So if the company is better positioned today than it was a year ago, why is the stock price so much lower than it was a year ago? As the famed investor Benjamin Graham said, in short term, the stock market is a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine. Clearly, there are a lot of voting going on in the year of 99, in reflection of the Amazon scenario, and much less weighing. We're a company that wants to be weighed, and over time, we will be over the long term. All companies are. In the meantime, we have our heads down working to build a heavier and heavier company. And I know they don't directly correlate, right? They do not directly correlate because this is Amazon and we are Ronin, right? They're not partners in crime. We're not going to see a replication of their process. But the weighing element, like, we are crypto gaming. If you were to weigh every crypto gaming environment against Ronin, we would outweigh it. So yes, macro, everyone is fucking scared with liquidity markets right now. Everyone, even resource markets are fucking scared, right? So the trickle down effect, there's a lot of rainwater that's coming from many different places up there that gets washed out down here. So admittedly, everyone's scared, but the weighing factor, right? The weighing factor of what this is, what Ronin is, what Ron is supposed to facilitate, right? The network that it is, we are still the heaviest out there. So there you go. Callie's saying, forget the token price. What about product selection? I'm actually okay going down this avenue and having this conversation, because the most successful, what you would take from the timeline and people's conversation right now, game in this industry would be Cambria. I don't know if you guys have any other perceptions on that, but right now, from what I see on social media, Cambria is the biggest game in Web3.
Well, they got the mind share, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right? They got the mind share. They got the numbers with the 1 million. Is a product sustainable? What will it do in the near future? What will it do for next season? Will the sentiment change if it goes down the season after? That's a whole nother story. But there is some stuff with Cambria that we can take away and learn from for
100%.
other games as well coming into the future. The same way Axie set the path. There's something to learn from every single game.
Yeah.
That's what I can tell you.
Learn and improve on, because people who
It's,
just learn and copy, they end up usually flopping. But you have to take it and put your own spin on it. Experiment.
Well, you have to understand the actual value that you're extracting. Like, you're extracting something of value, you understand that value, you harness the value in another way.
But then you have to improve on it also, because if not everyone might.
Well, that's the nature of using it in another way. Yeah, I mean, it could be an improvement, it could be
yeah.
a regression, but like, yeah.
But you don't know that in advance.
Well, one thing we're not going to take away from Cambria though is definitely the graphics. I hope nobody takes that away and uses that as a selling point. But we've spoken about this. People are like, oh, nostalgia, pixelated games, cool and fun. I couldn't fucking give a shit, bro. I don't want to see another fucking pixelated game on my screen, bro. I'll just be real straight up with you. Like, I just don't. Okay, so maybe other people share that sentiment.
To be fair though, I think they have a pretty small team.
Yeah, of course. No, in terms of output, it's not physically play. It makes
Yeah.
sense because you can't create these games without billions of dollars, right? We look at the top games in the world; they are literally billion-dollar projects, so it's understandable.
No, they're doing good. I think they're doing good. I think they did something good. I think they really thought about a lot of the stuff. My only concern is obviously about the game itself is like for new like players, right?
Mm.
Like newbies and mid core players. Like it's really
Yeah.
not. This is a hardcore
What
game.
what will be the retention between this season and next season of all that subset of player you're talking about? That's the metric that we'll need to look at, because the $1 million is only possible because a lot of players put it in, and then if it's not the winners, obviously the winners will always participate again, but to make that next prize pool even bigger, you need the people who are playing here and maybe they broke even, maybe they lost, but they had fun, or they found something there. If they're not playing or they're not recommending their friends, then the prize pool will go down, and that's the metric that I think Theban's talking about, and that we'll be looking at. Yep, put money into the. Did you mint your chicas?
I minted 2 of those chicas. Yes,
Nice.
one thing I'm not minting
Nice.
though is this charter. Even though yes, here we are right below 1 million. The season's prize pool is funded by charter and energy orbs purchases and backs the in-game coins supply. This is what I was talking about in the show as well. How like Cambria's team didn't say we have $50,000 and we're going to give this to a prize pool. And you know what I mean? Like they actually were so incredibly smart with the way that they went about it.
Yeah.
The purchases of charters actually was what the prize pool would be. So
Bro, you know what's gonna be sick? There's gonna be, you know what I would want Axie to do? They do the same thing, but then they're like, whatever you guys raise, we're gonna match it, and then the prize pool is gonna go bananas.
yeah,
You're gonna see like, 'cause
realistic.
everyone is gonna know that they're gonna always get some kind of a return on whatever they get or whatever they put in, right? And like then let's make it competitive. Let's make it PvP and PvE and everything, and get as many people as we can at the beginning, and then see what it does with the markets and get like a full scope of like, okay, what is the true potential of this, right?
This is going to be paid out in RON, right? Because if it's charters and RONs are in charters, charters are paid for in RON.
I mean, what did the abstract?
I think you can. Yeah, you can buy on both sides as
So
well. Because I'm signed in on a Ronin wallet.
It would be interesting.
I think I could
because I think it was 50 RON or something, right? So it was priced in RON on the RON side. That would be interesting, because if that is even half RON, that's a big sell-off in a week.
Well, I mean, let's experiment.
They're selling off as soon as they get it, right? Because price can go down as well. So you should be selling it as soon as you get it if you are doing that. So I think they're probably selling it as they get it. I don't think a lot of that is probably in RON. I think
but it's because it's paid back.
So here's the abstract wallet. Here's the
paid
abstract
back
wallet.
to
We're about to
players.
answer all the questions. We're going to answer all the questions. Here's an abstract wallet sign in. What does it ask me to buy the charter with here? Say username as mint charter is in ETH.
Yeah. So we need to. It would be interesting to see. You can't see the address, but you could. Yeah. Someone who has bought one, you could see.
Well, no, you can't see the address because it's gonna be sent from your wallet.
Yeah, but if you buy it, I'm saying you
can
can't
go
see it
and find
without buying. But you could go see someone who has bought one, like Logic's wallet. I'm sure, if it's not already littered by other transactions related to Cambria. No, I just think it's interesting because it probably sits in. If it sits in RON and then it's redistributed in RON to players, there might be a sell-off, right? Because if the players are paid in RON, I'm not saying it so.
Oh, you mean If abstract players get RON, they're going to sell the RON.
Yeah. But if the team is just selling, because I don't think if the charter,
whoa, that's actually a big question though, because if the majority of this charter prize pool was allocated and accumulated through RON specifically, then if they're not giving the prize in RON, they're gonna have to fucking sell the shit out of that RON
again.
To get the prize pool.
It's not a lot of RON, okay? A lot of it probably came in ETH from the abstract.
Yeah, but you can't say that, bro.
How about we check? Because
we don't know. We don't know.
Bro.
We don't know.
Okay, I don't know, but I can speculate, and I'm probably right.
Well,
Okay.
50 RON is cheaper than 0.02 ETH, so their min-maxers would have been buying the charter in RON if it's cheaper in dollar amounts. So I don't.
But there's also different game content aspects.
Okay. I'm
Right.
no expert. I haven't dove into it. I was just saying that's an interesting thing to. Someone needs.
No,
to
just yeah. I just mean
yeah.
if
it's
you've
normal.
signed in on an abstract wallet, you get abstract rewards from playing the game. Whereas if
Fair
you
enough.
sign on a Ron wallet, you get Ron side
yeah.
rewards.
I see.
in the game. Sushi's saying in the chat that Kyra said 70% came from abstract side.
Okay. But that's
Yeah, I didn't need to see the stats to know that. That's what that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so a 300K sell-off is not much, but a $2 million Ron buyback is huge. Okay, cool. it's still
300K, a 2 million, of course, because buying it amplifies the price a lot higher. And if you're selling at these prices, you're not gonna dump it that much.
yeah,
It's not gonna go lower. It's only gonna be like
it's but
such
yeah.
a dude. Those whales that were selling off a couple of days were selling millions of Ron.
Yeah, fair enough. I was just asking a question. I'm glad I got that. Ronky will go to bed less stupid today. Bad Ronky is learning. Bad Ronky is coiled and ready to strike.
He's like a fucking rattlesnake, ladies and gentlemen, or a cobra. We've reached 2,500. Pardon me,
Jesus
total views.
Christ, Lord Almighty.
So I'm really happy with that. So thank you guys for pulling up to the show today. It's fucking awesome. But you know, I'm fucking done. I'm gonna go eat. So.
Sub to the YouTube. We're giving out.
I got my food ready too.
We're giving out a Ronky.
Oh no! I want Stark as the main guy. Say
okay.
Go.
We're giving out a beautiful generational wealth Ronky once we hit 500 subs on YouTube. So sub on YouTube and now get me off the big screen. Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. You see it here, the Ronin Revolution. We did it. We had it. We've done it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jihoz came through, got a low value. If you missed it, you just turned up. You're a fucking idiot. Set your alarm clock next time. But yeah, you can watch this back on YouTube after the show finishes. Thank you guys for coming through today. Big shout out to Jihoz for being here for sure. Shout out to everyone in the chat. But as you can see, if you see there right in the bottom right corner, you can see it. You zoom in as much as you can. That is the Ronky NFT that we'll be giving out at 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So, go support the cause. Go subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next Tuesday for a show, but we will also be live on Saturday playing some video games as we have been for the last month. I don't know what we're going to play just yet. I really want to play Repo. I'm so sorry. These guys don't seem as enthusiastic about Repo as I am. I think Repo. R.E.P.O. Go watch on YouTube.
Game?
No, it's not. It's not. We're not playing Schedule 1, no.
Okay, I was gonna say, man.
Okay, no. We're not ending the show. We're not ending the show. We're not ending the show right now. We're not ending the show right now. Bring us back. Bring us back.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, come on, bro.
Bring us back.
What are you doing? This is like a reverse run, man.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Chat, please send help. Chat,
Can you just
Gila's just singing over us.
Shut up. This is what we're playing, bro. Come on. Look. You're not ready for this. This Saturday, this is what we're playing. Demon, you better have the most fun you've ever had in your life in this game.
This is more retarded than the fucking drug game.
Well, this is the game we're playing. If you guys are excited for Repo, put it in the chat right now, bro. I'll tell you what, this is a game. This is it. This is what we're doing Saturday night. All acoustic elements will be here. Ronkies will be here. Oh, I'm just giving free promo right now to Smitty. Shout out to Smitty. But yeah, bro, that's what we're playing Saturday. So I hope you're ready for that.
I'm really.
But it's actually a good game. It is actually a good game, bro.
Really glad you pulled us back in for that. I think the chat is too, and they're very excited to watch us play.
No, I think there is actually no. There's one thing still on the list that we haven't covered, and we've got to share screen for this. Let me get it up.
What the? I can already tell he's up to something. It's not
Please.
serious.
No, please.
He's got his mischief face on.
Please.
Look at his face. Okay.
Wait, I'm trying to get the tab. The tab. I don't know.
Oh God, what is this?
It was Grok.
I can hear Theban's stomach grumbling. He's starving.
Yeah,
I got food on my table, man. I'm ready to eat, man.
No. You can't.
Chat, send help. We're being held hostage.
All right.
Excuse
Yo,
me.
you remember all those times Gila rugged us? Like,
yeah.
why would you
I love it. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Grok for taking 5 years to just fucking do that. That was it. All right, bye.